What is up out there? How's everybody doing? All right, let's turn on camera. Action. Hello. How's the world? Whoa, you can see me now. How's everybody doing this evening? So I found out some interesting, I stumbled into rather some interesting facts. I'll get my things gathered up here, wander off into my space in here. You know what, since I'm going to be discussing Pinene ratios, grab my Pop Scotty box. I am going to be finished totally the review of Pop Scotty in the morning. Was adding in the pictures and putting the captions on the pictures and all that good stuff this evening. I actually figured out how to make the articles, like why they have an article section and a post section, because you can actually, like, there's actually part of the Microsoft Word platform, whatever it is, the application Microsoft Word, how you can like bold, parentheses, or fucking italicize, all that shit, and like add pictures, put a link. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. So I can make the articles more user friendly. Like for example, I use Seed Finder to do the genetic analysis because it's my head in front of the light. I use Seed Finder to do the genetic analysis because it literally breaks everything down for you from the strain you're looking for all the way back to landrace parent genetics, which is what I want to discuss in relation to alpha-beta-pinene ratio. Now, if you're unfamiliar, first thing I'm going to do is take a dab. But if you're unfamiliar with the ratio of alpha-pinene to beta-pinene, the ratio of alpha-pinene to beta-pinene is approximately equivalent when taken in ratio. Okay, so the ratio of alpha-pinene to the sum of alpha-pinene plus beta-pinene against the ratio of beta-pinene over the sum of alpha-pinene plus beta-pinene is approximately equivalent to the lean of sativa to indica, where alpha is representing sativa, beta representing indica. Now, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Beta, indica, sativa, alpha-pinene. Right? Alpha-pinene has a more potent aromatic, I'm trying to think of the words to use. Beta-pinene has a little bit of an earthier base to it. It's a little more rank, a little less aromatically potent, I think maybe is the word. So regardless, it's a formula that I intuited from a lot of patterns that I kept seeing happening in alpha-pinene and beta-pinene, which was exactly what I just said. So that's the formula. Now, that formula is applicable a majority of the time, a large percentage of the time. However, there are situations in which it is not applicable, and that is what I want to talk about this evening, is discerning those situations and attempting to understand why they're like that and what the fuck that means. Like, what does that mean insofar as the plant and how it's, what happens to produce that, or what happens to cause that, as well as how it affects the experiential side of the profile. And if you read the review in the morning, it makes a whole lot of more sense than trying to listen to me stutter through this. So there's two different ways in which alpha-pinene, beta-pinene ratio does not represent approximately the lean assigned by industry that you're attempting to discern using the protocol of which alpha-pinene, beta-pinene ratio formula is part of. my Terpological protocol, Evolutionarily Adaptive Terpological Discernment and Assignment, DNA, Canalitic Protocol. One of those ways in which you see alpha pinene, beta pinene ratio not be approximately equivalent to the lean is when you have a simplified genetic profile. But by that, what I mean is, for example, early girl or any fucking landrace, because it's just one pure genetic, it's just landrace cannabis. Or for example, OG Kush, Hindu Kush and Chemdog. Very, very simplified genetics. Even Chemdog, you go, it's not very far back to the, within 4 crosses, 5 at the most is the pattern that I'm seeing fall into place. Sometimes the 5 crosses, the formula does work, but typically if it's 4 crosses or less, back to the landrace genetics. And it's very easy to see those crosses using the seed finder map. And you can literally see 1 cross, 2 cross, 3 cross, up, there you go. And another way, the other way in which you see the alpha pinene, beta pinene formula not work. So you have, whenever the genetic, the lineage that's contributing to the strain at hand is very simple. Doesn't have a lot of complexity. It's not a whole bunch of crazy hybrid bullshit. It just pretty cut and dry back to landrace genetics, which we see with both Red Pop and the Biscotti, which are contributing genetics to Pop Scotty, the strain in question here. So the other way that you see that formula not work properly is when you have, for example, a heavy expression of sativa on a known indica profile. So when you look at terpologically, when you look at a profile, you have an initial intuition of the profile. And intuition might not be the right word, but you have an initial overall feeling from knowing your terpological protocol. You can look at it and get a basic idea of if you're going to, if this likely leans indica or sativa. Now that might change, you might not be correct in that. But with that said, the other way you don't see alpha beta pinene formula equating approximately to the lean is heavy expression of the opposite of what you know that profile is on the profile. So for example, in Snoop Dogg OG, indica dominant hybrid has dominant expression of terpinolene, high levels of THC. And if you look at the alpha pinene beta pinene ratio, it doesn't apply to Snoop Dogg OG. There's other examples like that as well. Now, the difference between those two happenstances of variance in the alpha pinene beta pinene ratio equating to the lean, the difference in those is that in the simplification and the simplicity of the genetics, it typically presents as a in totality. So it presents in opposition in totality to the known or expected strain lean, right? So if it, whatever it is, 50-50, 60-40, whatever you think it might be, it will present as sativa dominant, right? And rather than presenting the way it should, like Pop Scotty. So the alpha pinene beta pinene ratio, you have a lack of beta pinene, which is saying that this indica dominant hybrid is presenting, according to the alpha ratio, the ratio of this formula, as a sativa dominant landrace, a landrace strain, 100% sativa, no beta myrcene, or no beta pinene, right? So 0 on the beta pinene leaves the whole thing for alpha pinene. That's the ratio. However, that's not. It's not 100% sativa. But when you start digging into the genetics, one thing that I found here is that in those examples where you have a totality of lean, completely, totally landrace representation in the pinene profile, what you have in those genetic examples is not only simplicity of the genetic lineage of the strain. So like Popscotti, you have Biscotti. Again, you have to look at I can't remember, I keep all these genetics in my head, both trees. But Red Pop was the last one I was doing, and there's a lot of Durban poison, there's a shit ton of landrace genetics contributing to the totality of both Red Pop and Biscotti. So not only are they both extremely simplified, but they both also are very heavily impacted by landrace genetics. And I'm trying to think of what all exactly they were. There was a lot of sativa landrace. Like there was strawberry, which is unknown. It was a hybrid landrace. That's another interesting point. Do you know there can be a hybrid landrace? It's something that can confuse you when you're looking at something like looking for landrace expression. You see something that says hybrid, and it might throw you off of something like this when you're looking through to see what's going on here. Why is it presenting in this way? Well, it's got a whole bunch of landrace parent genetics here. And if you see a hybrid in there, like in Red Pop, which you do, but it is a hybrid landrace hybrid. It's two landrace strains, a landrace sativa and a landrace indica, crossed together to give you a hybrid landrace. So, yeah. And a whole bunch, another note, key point. With Popscotti in particular, there is a shit ton of OG Kush and Hindu Kush back crossing. Like you'll have OG Kush or there's just a whole bunch of playing with OG Kush and Hindu Kush crossing over, as well as Durban poison. So those three landrace genetics, Durban poison, Hindu Kush, and OG Kush isn't landrace. OG Kush is Chem Dog and Hindu Kush. But wait till the morning when I release the entire article and check out the genetic protocol, the genetic profile of both Biscotti and Red Pop. I'm trying to remember Biscotti. Yeah, Biscotti was Guava Gelato, which is Gelato 25, number 25, crossed with Guava Gelato. Fuck, it's in my head, I can see it, but I can't read the other part of it. Guava Gelato. Damn it, what was the other one? Biscotti, Guava Gelato, Gelato 25. I can't remember what the other strain in Biscotti was. Damn it, why is that's getting under my skin? And Red Pop was, can I remember that one at all? Red Pop. A complete total brain fart there. Anyway, so yeah, I found that of a lot very interesting to me. The fact that, one, I was able to, a while back, intuit the formula out of longitudinal analysis of the conformational analyses that I've been studying, coupling that with anecdotal experience of my own. I was able to suss out that formula specifically. And I haven't seen it anywhere else, like listed. I've never seen that like in a book or anything. If it is, that's really fucking cool because, see, I like doing things like that. I like, even if it is out there in a book somewhere, or it's already a well-known formula utilized by people in the industry or something like that. I don't think it is, but if it is, all the more better because I came to it independently on my own, which means that I came to the same analysis of that subject that the written subject came to. So that's not exactly a bad thing if you think that you are the, I don't know, proprietor of a piece of information or what have you, and then you come to find out that it is already part of cannabis culture. that simply indicates that you're on the right track, or you're at least on the same track that other individuals have been on in that line of thinking, which may indicate that you want to take a diversion off of that track, or maybe you want to continue on that track. Anyway, I want to take a dab right now. I was on that track, and then I got off of it, so now I'm going to get back on that track. Get some Pop Scotty in our system since we're talking about it. We haven't even fucking smoked any of it yet this evening. This evening being the key there. This evening. Oh, you know, Bad Drip, they used to have an RX right there. And if you look at the D, you can see they kind of sarcastically, the scribbles right there. You see any other diagonal lines in the scribbles? No. You see a diagonal line on the D because they're being like smartasses. Like I can see like the artist being like, no fucking RX, X. And yeah, literally it's like right there in front of your face. But it used to actually say RX, but they got, can't do that, or RX. I have an RX bottle somewhere that has the RX instead of the BD on it. Big Dick RS. RX. RS. That's some kind of Toyota vehicle. RS. Sporty cars. Sporty! Sporty, baby! Sporty, baby! Yes, I have that voice. Because I'm a man. I'm a man, man. I'm a man, man, man. Anyway, take a hit off of my homemade fixed up bong, banger, rig, whatever word you have for it. I'm probably the only person. I know a lot of people don't confuse the word rig and banger, but I do all the time. So just know that whatever one I'm saying, just think the correct way, and that's what I'm talking about. Gotta get ourselves up to temperature. Like I said, I try not to heat the valve up too much from behind with this the way it is now. Although I have another idea to make this setup even better. So whenever this JB Weld finally does wear and I take it apart because it's leaking or whatever from the heat, cooling, heating, cooling, eventually it will. I have an idea, a better idea. And it involves an adapter, a 10 to 14 adapter. I'm going to use the 10 to put it in here, and then the 14 end, and use this and put it in the end of the 14, and be perfect. And like it's even better than the way I set it up this time. And I won't have to worry about the JB Weld being directly on the banger. I can actually attach it in a way that the JB Weld isn't as close to the, at least the valve area there where because I typically use the flame right behind the valve where the fucking JB Weld attached to the banger at now. So everybody that's out there knows, if you're watching this new, this is not a JB welded spot. There's glass inside of there. It's just JB Weld on the outside to give it form so it doesn't fall. Don't smoke through JB Weld. I've been fixing bongs like this for a while. So just trust me, don't smoke through JB Weld. But this is a safe piece. Cheers. Scotty. So again, the whole reason for the reason I delved so deeply into the alpha beta pinene ratio on this one is because of the unique presentation of Pop Scotty being an indica dominant hybrid, technically, but having the secondary characteristic and the first characteristic of those two examples of exceptions to the alpha pinene beta pinene ratio equating to the approximation of the lean, because it has both simplified genetics and expression of sativa orientation on the indica profile with terpenoline and osamine both in secondary levels. Although on its own, at the secondary level, that would be less of a, like, you have to take that into consideration too. Everything, one, according to that profile, and two, I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, finish that sentence if it was possible. See, that's why I enjoy writing. When I write, I can go back and correct those like silly mistakes that I make sometimes when I'm speaking. That also pop out once in a while when I'm writing. When I'm speaking, I can't do that. It's like out there, fucking out there for you. Everything done. Oh, there's Dabby Doos. And there's Dabby Doos. You know, that viral song. Oh, well, chocolate. Ah, they're chocolate. Oh, yeah, I did upload another short on Rumble. Check it out. And if you like the short, check out the video that is attached to the short, which is my preference, if you must know. But yeah, the short is just a little snippet from the 20-minute video on the impact of cannabis prohibition on the intensity of cannabis, the potency of cannabis, and the presence of beta-myrcene in said cannabis. Yes. Because like beta-myrcene is present in about approximately 50% of strains. But when you add into that the recreational market as it was during Prohibition in the 90s through the mid-2000s, you get a phenomena that takes place. If you're interested, check out the video. A phenomena that takes place that's quite counterintuitive to most people's understanding of what beta-myrcene is actually doing therapeutically in cannabis. Most people have the notion that beta-myrcene is sedative or that it's a painkiller. It is analgesic in nature from the studies that I have seen and insofar as much as I know. However, as far as being relaxing, it is it's slightly relaxing, but it's more so relaxing in the fact that it gets rid of pain for people who are in pain, so it relaxes them in that way. But the way in which it's actually relaxing is when you have beta-myrcene paired with beta-caryophyllene. The beta-myrcene actually enhances sedation of the beta-caryophyllene. So, yeah. And due to the way that cannabis and the market was and things were during prohibition of cannabis, you had a certain phenomenon that occurred with beta-myrcene, that being the amplification to extreme heights of beta-myrcene, and that caused, if you know people who have stopped smoking cannabis and then tried to start smoking weed again, and they get paranoid, they get a lot of anxiety, they can't start smoking, that is what I refer to when I say the freak out effect. That's what I'm referring to. Think of people who take a tolerance break and try to start smoking again, and they can't because they get all paranoid and they freak out. That's the freak out effect. That is the over amplification of beta-myrcene causing the overabsorption of THC across the blood-brain barrier, causing increased psychoactivity rather than the enhancement of the beta-caryophyllene sedation. So even when you have beta-caryophyllene present, if you have an amplification to a certain degree of beta-myrcene, it reverts back to, I say, is how I speak about it, reverts back to that sativa nature to act on CB1 receptors and proliferate THC across the blood-brain barrier. When with beta-caryophyllene, though, at appropriate levels where beta-myrcene is only slightly higher or equal to or less than the beta-caryophyllene level, it acts to enhance sedation thereof, as well as an analgesic. There's actually studies done, I've mentioned this several times, there's actually studies done on lab rats. I remember reading a peer-reviewed study where it was intraperitoneal, which is around the heart, and then and as well as subcutaneous. And this is part of the reason, it's one of the studies that I use to validate and tell people why I use the bath bombs and make the bath bombs that I make, the hemp-derived terpene-infused bath bombs. Beta-myrcene, the analgesic nature of it, it's been found in studies that in injection of beta-myrcene subcutaneously in lab rats, as well as intraperitoneally, in both situations, they found that it induces analgesia on par with prescription opioids without activating the addiction-causing pathway, reward-seeking pathway. So it takes a novel pathway and does the same thing. You still get the same comparable analgesia, pain relief, but you don't have, it doesn't take the pathway that causes the addictive behaviors. So quite interesting. And what I say about that is, as far as the bath salts are concerned, if you take an Epsom salt, which is already meant to proliferate the skin and proliferate things through, well, yeah, it proliferates the skin into the muscle tissue, right? It's for relaxation of muscles. When you add to the bath Epsom salt, when you add to the Epsom salt the beta-myrcene, and add with that limonene, which is used extensively in skincare industry as a proliferative, once again, proliferate. You have all these proliferatives taking place in my bath bombs that I make, topical proliferatives. And remember, the subcutaneous, just beneath the skin, injection of beta-myrcene. So would it not make sense that in a topical medium like my bath bombs, that exposing yourself to beta-myrcene, limonene, and the other terpenes that are in there, like osamines, good antifungal, they're all good anti-inflammatories, all sorts of fun stuff in the bath bombs that for some reason the FDA doesn't want to admit terpenes and cannabis does, even though terpenes are used extensively, just cannabis isn't. Quite weird. But all those things put together, I imagine that the beta-myrcene would have an easy time proliferating the skin and acting to, at the very least, be an analgesic for like minor skin irritation, at the very least, itching. Like I would imagine that being like the bottom rung of what it would be able to address, depending on the potency that you have, right? How much beta-myrcene, limonene is in the bath bombs, how many bath bombs you put in the water, etc. Yes. And then I also took other things into consideration with the bath bombs too, like the exfoliative nature of the Epsom salt. So I put in pink Himalayan rock salt and rock sea salt, as well as the crushed, so that there's like the exfoliative nature of the rock salts, like, because I'll rub my feet when I do take a bath. I'll like rub the backs of my feet on the bottom of the tub, and it like rubs them across the crystals. Try to get rid of my gigantic calluses. Man callus. Man feet. Because I'm a man. Maya. And people probably really do think I'm like a fucking trolling leftist on Rumble here, but I'm really not. I just have a nose ring, and I say stuff that makes me look like a leftist all the time. I'm not talking about misogyny. There was something a long time ago about Maynard from Tool. Oh, my. Something I can't remember. My buddy used to do that all the time. One of my old friends. Can't remember exactly what it is. Something to do with Maynard from Tool. I'm pretty sure, if I recall properly. Do you know how Tool writes their music? No? They trip on DMT. True story. They ingest DMT, and they write about the crazy shit they see. That rhymes. Yeah. That fucking wild. Supposedly, I've been told, there's a rumor, that the drummer, the way he tunes his drums, he actually came to in a DMT trip. Like he saw a star, I think it was, on the drums or something, some kind of geometric shape, and he tuned it in a certain way. So he gets all these fucking sounds out of the drums with this special tuning that he got from the DMT trip. If you don't know what DMT is, don't go and try it. I can say that. Unless you're an experienced psychonaut, somebody who hallucinates a whole bunch, or you know somebody you really, really trust. DMTs. I cannot condone or recommend that you use DMT. I have never myself, however, I would like to do the experience at some time. I had a very, very, like, all of my mushroom trips, I've only had one full-on, like, breakthrough kind of trip. That was my very first one. And no, it wasn't just because it was my first one that I felt it was that way. Like, trust me, I was fucking, like, I don't know the extent of what mushrooms can do, but I know the extent of what that did. And I know how I felt. And the spiritual connection that people talk about, and like, there's not even words for it. It's not even, it's just like, I felt like I knew about everything. I knew all of the stuff, and not just knew it, but like I was it. Like everything. It's really fucking weird to say when you're sober and hard to explain, but yeah, full blown fucking spiritual breakthrough trip, mushroom trip, psilocybin is awesome. I was stuck fucking playing with a water faucet for a long ass time because it was so pretty. The water faucet, it was turning on and watching it drip down into a little bowl that was in the sink, and it was like, like I can't make the noise even, and it was like such a fucking perfect noise. It was just like, I don't know, fucking perfect noise. And then I was like looking at and the light was beaming off of the fucking ripples as they came off of each drop, as it like, and then it like spilled over the side, and then like, oh god, it was all flowy, and oh, I remember the whole thing. I remember my buddy at one point, he was like walking outside, and there was a sliding glass door, so there's like the double panes, so there was like two reflections of him, and then two reflections of me. And because the way the lighting was, it was like, and I was like, dude, I can see you in me. And it was so fucking deep to me in the moment. Like, it was fucking mind-blowingly fucking deep. I started that trip out, but I did a live where I went over the whole thing and talked about it. But I started that trip out in the shower, stepped out of the shower, into the kitchen where my 3 other friends were, male friends, butt naked, and my girlfriend was stepping out with me. She wasn't butt naked. I was. Because I was starting to get freak out because my belly was hurting. Like cramping. Psilocybin makes your guts cramp before they kick in. And I knew to stay calm. So that's what I did. Was kept myself. And when I walked out into the kitchen naked like that, the chandelier like beamed me in the face with like a fucking spotlight or something. I don't know. It was fucking wild. And my kitchen was canary yellow on top of everything. So it was super fucking bright. Collab 13 by Country. Much heavier, much more potent indica, knockout, couch lock, high, fuck you up, than Pop Scotty. However, a lot less trans cariphyllene, which speaks to my point that trans cariphyllene is kind of like the opposite of beta cariphyllene, but not really. It's just more aligned with sativa presentation, especially in Terpological protocol. Because this has trans cariphyllene in it, it's just 0.68%. And it's got a much more relaxing. Super colleague buzz. I really like this Collab 13. It's nice and smooth. Is this the box? Yeah, Collab 13. 84.49 total cannabinoids. THC 0.59, so low. 81.35 THCA, so yeah, it's decent. CBDA present, CBCA, that means sativa, CBGA without CBG, also leaning in sativa. Beta myrcene dominance, trans cariphyllene at 0.97%. So that breaks and starts getting into that territory where that's the one thing about the Collab 13. It does have that. It starts bordering on the psychoactive freakout that I was talking about. But it's not quite there. But those levels can be there for some people. Limonene, 1.34%. Linalool, 0.58. Humulene, 0.37. So we see right there we have the setup for indica characteristic profile. The linalool and humulene close to each other, being in support of the cariphyllene. And then Finchel, 0.12, drops down to the primary level, or tertiary level, rather, the third level, the lowest level. Alpha terpineol, indica, presenting. Beta pinene, 0.08%. That's interesting. What was alpha pinene? No alpha pinene. Yes, alpha pinene, 0.07. Okay, so beta pinene, 0.08%, alpha pinene, 0.07%. That's interesting, and that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Very close together, so probably like 55-45, 60-40 indica dominant hybrid, which makes sense if that's, and that's your alpha pinene, beta pinene formula at work. The right way, appropriately. And if you look up the genetics of Collab 13, I would hypothesize that, going by what I've discerned over all the strains and then figured out with the Pop Scotty review, is that it, because alpha pinene, where the formula does apply, so it's not one of those happenstances, ergo you would expect to see the opposite, so not a simplified profile, a more complex lineage, and a lack of those landrace inclusions throughout, not just in the bottom of the genetic lineage. It rolled across the floor, it did, right out of my reach, so I could not reach it, and I had to leave my... For some reason, preach popped in my head, but that doesn't make sense. I was thinking stool or, like, bird chirping. Oh, boy. My brain sometimes. It's like a DJ's mixing board. Two different songs, and I don't know who's controlling the fucking middle switch that turns things back and forth. And I just meander my way through. My mouth just kind of spits out whatever's happening up there in the program. I don't really like the Pop Scotty all that much, honestly. It gives me, if I smoke too much of it, and depending how hyped up I am or what mood I'm in, it can make my nose bleed real easy. And I think it's because it gets your blood pressure up with the, I don't know, it's just part of the sativa experience that I don't really like at all. Part of that, like, approaching the freaky outy experience. But the nosebleed part, that's specific to me, because my nose is fucked up, and my blood pressure, when it goes up even just slightly, my nose is like, oh, no. So, yeah. Clarifying that. Cannabis doesn't make your nose bleed. It shouldn't. If it does, go to the hospital. Because it was probably, more than likely, was not just cannabis. Or you just got a nosebleed. Scratch that. Don't go to the hospital until you smoked cannabis and you got a nosebleed. Because then they'll say that cannabis hyperemesis has evolved. Cannabis hyperemesis stage 2. We have to get a vaccine. Immediately. What's fucking crazy? You want to know fucking what's crazy? Listen to this shit. The Simpsons predicted Joe Biden president and predicted Kamala Harris was going to take over because Joe Biden was going to get kicked out of office or die. They said he was going to die. I think they said he was going to die. Either way, if either thing happens, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. And supposedly, like, they found some documents that were all disheveled and shit, and it's supposed to be pointing to the fact that he is, like, really not all there. Like, really, really not all there. It should be really obvious, like, when you see him, like, turn in circles when he can't get off the stage. But then he tries to cover. And they do. They, like, cover their ass real good. But then you see him, like, turn in circles and, like, run into the wall and, like, doesn't know which way to go. And then everybody has to escort him off the stage. And I do not understand what he's trying to do with the country. It does not make any sense. It's not for the country. I've never seen that. In my whole, I'm 33 years old. I was alive with Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton, George Bush, Obama, Trump, right? So, like, and that's never happened. what's happening now, like with the border, insanity. I mean, stuff happened with Trump that's never happened too, but like after everything's come out in the wash with that, I was confident in the fact that I could watch both aspects and try to get at both sides and try to get a subjective standpoint. But all you do when you do that is get fucking influenced by the propaganda from both sides, because both sides, it's two different sides, but in reality, it's just one big puppeteer. And you just can't, I don't know, it's like you can't watch mainstream media at all and get an unbiased, subjective opinion. Because are you even seeing what is really happening? Are you seeing what the cameras want you to see so that they can write their story about how they want it to be written? Because the way some of the, like, there's footage released of people just walking peacefully, and when they were saying that stuff, I didn't believe that, because what I had seen was people busting through the window and fucking screaming and yelling. The dude fucking with the hat that I'm pretty sure is a CIA agent. But yeah, and stuff. Fucking, I need to get some more art. I'm out of art, so. Do you want to see my plant before I go? That rhymed again. God damn, I'm rapping. I'm a rapper. Rapping. Rapping. Yeah, that was fucking corny. Anyway. Alright. So, let's flip her around here. Flip camera. There is what I think I thought might have been a tangent. I don't know. These leaves here made me think it was one of them, like the tangy that I had. But the soil was kind of fucked up and it got a little stunted. So I'm waiting for it to hopefully take off. And I don't know if it's Great Big, Gelato 33, or Tangy. But I'll find out. Make sure the damn plant doesn't fall on me. The lamp doesn't fall on the plant. I mean. There we go. That'll do. Not a very good light for this, is it? Just anyway, that'll work. Kind of hard to see it with this damn camera. Yeah, so this is the leaves that are femmed. You can see where I clipped them so they're like flat on top. Like that isn't a very good fem, but some of them are clipped a little too low, some are clipped a little too high. Anyway, femming is supposed to give you more branches than topping it. That's that fucking twisted up leaf. I tried to flip it around, but it's just being silly. It was all twisted. There's a couple of leaves that are kind of fucked up there. Mine's weird like that. It's a real weird spot right there. Like the branching is weird. It's different. It's got like a branch. It's got like a leaf bundle shooting out of the spot that I didn't expect it to come out of. I don't know how else to put it. But anyway, if you look like this leaf here, right here, and where the fuck's the other side of it? This one. This. Yeah, I'm glad I got the soil fixed. That's a big difference. That leaf over there compared to the other side of it. That one. At the center, I got cut. I'm going to top one or two of these. I don't know which ones. I'm going to top one or two of them whenever I get like one more node. After like the fourth node, I want to top one or two of those branches and let the other ones do their thing and see what happens. I got to get some fucking twisty ties though, so I can get some LST without fucking up all my leaves and shit trying to tie these goddamn strings in place. That shit wasn't easy. One, it kept pulling on the plant too much, and two, it's just too much fucking around up in the canopy. Just need something that I can easily just twist in. See how it grew though? Like here's the base. About the size of my finger the stalk is right now. And the purple is starting to fade. It looks pretty bad there in the spotlight, but it's not as bad as what it was. It was pretty bad the whole way. Yeah. Purple in the stem, when you grow it, it's not good. It's not the same thing. I don't think it's the same thing as the purple in the leaf. I don't think it's the same thing that causes anthocyanin is the chemical that causes it in the leaf. I don't know if that's what causes it in the stem or something else. I know it's like nutrient deficiency that's going on whenever that's happening. Anyway. Alright, turn that shit back around. Sorry about the terrible camera experience, guys. Not a fucking Sony cameraman here. But, I hope you have a lovely evening. Hope, what's today? A couple days later. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day 3 days ago. I am making distilled water also. If you did not catch it last night, this is distilled water in the process. Pot, water, in pot, bowl, about the same size as pot. Floats on water in pot. Not quite boiled. Water in pot. Lid, condensation. If you put something cold on top of the lid, preferably you have a lid the same size, and just put it on top upside down and put a bunch of ice in there, and it'll speed up the process real fucking fast. But this way, yeah. It works, it takes more time. There's dripping in there the entire time. It's just not all dripping into where it's supposed to. It's not convex like it would be if it was the actual lid for the fucking pan. I gotta put some more water in it. That's why it's bubbling, bubbling, bubbling too much. You just put the water in the pot, or in the bowl, obviously. That's your distilled water in the bowl. It has a neutral pH, as long as you don't got a bunch of stuff in it or something. Like from the pan or, I don't know, whatever. But then, since I don't have any ice, what I'll do is take some cold water and put cold water on top of that. And when I was using another pan the same size, flipped over top of this pan, doing it that way, and putting this in the freezer for ice, that lid, and then setting that on top of the pan. But I don't know, this way is working a little better. So the water's real cold. And just dump it on the lid to cool it down, speed up condensation. I dump it on until it's full. There's a little rain on the back. I thought it'd take a little less than that. Damn, tank's holding fucking good. It's kind of like leaking out the back. It doesn't take that much water. I don't know how it's holding that much now. That's crazy. Oh, that's a good example. You do it slowly. Look how close the rim of that is, the water. It's literally like standing up on the edge of it. Looks insane. Oh shit. God damn. That's the rest of the cup. Like it's filled up to here with water. That's crazy. It still hasn't spilled out the bottom of it. It's sitting at an angle. Alrighty then. Have a good evening, everybody. Check out the review in the morning because it will be done. Just have to finish it. Take it easy.